Hi, this is Luis Souza, and if you want to learn raw food, you are in the rightest place on earth today, because we have a very special guest, Jennifer Cornbleet, and she is the raw food chef teacher of teachers. I don't know if I got it, but I think you got it. Well, we are in her site, and you see Raw Food Made Easy, which is the name of her most famous book, Raw Food Made Easy for One or Two People, and it's in its second edition or revised edition now. And you can learn lots of good things to prepare, we can say cook raw food, prepare raw food at home. Here we are in her YouTube channel where you can learn so much from her videos. Lots of delicious recipes. One is more delicious than the other one. And here we are in her Facebook page. And I'm very glad to tell you that today, I don't know for how long, her book is marked over 30% off in Amazon. So if you go there, you have a very good discount in these days. And here it's her YouTube, Twitter channel. I don't know if we can say this. Anyway, Twitter page. And we can see that you need to take advantage of this discount today. Well, I will come back here to my face now. And welcome, Jennifer. It's so nice to have you here. It's a great pleasure to talk to someone who knows so much about raw food.
Thanks for having me.
And you are in this road a long time now, and I was really impressed when I realized that you are a teacher of teachers, right? You teach the teachers.
Yes.
It's so fantastic. So let's talk now to someone who would be thinking now of going raw. Maybe some percentage, not 100%. How much? What would be your first advice to that person?
Well, if you're thinking of trying it, and I do want to say it certainly doesn't need to be all or nothing like 100%. You can just get started pretty easily. And I think one of the easiest ways to start eating raw is to eat a raw breakfast, because it gets you off to the right start for the day, and it's one of the easiest meals to eat raw. And one of the easiest things you could do is have some fresh fruit for breakfast. I bet in Brazil there's some really nice fresh fruits there probably you could have for breakfast. And the other thing that you can do that I do most of the time is make a green smoothie. You do need a blender for that, but you just put some fruit in your blender with a little water and then add plenty of greens. It could be any kind of greens: kale, collards, chard, spinach, any green, romaine lettuce, any greens you have on hand. Just add that to your blender with the fruit, and that just makes a really quick and easy breakfast. So that's the first thing I'd recommend if you're trying to start. And then the second thing I'd recommend is just including a nice big garden salad with your lunch. That might even become the major part of your lunch. It could have lettuce, tomatoes, avocado, carrots, celery, any vegetables you like, little lemon, for a dressing. And if you just do those two things, the smoothie or the fruit for breakfast and a big salad at lunch, you would automatically be eating at least 40% raw just from doing that. And then just one more thing. And then the third thing I'd recommend is for snacks. If you do eat between meals, replacing that with raw snacks like fresh fruit, cut up vegetables, a little bit of almond butter on a banana or something. And if you just did that, as well as the salad and the smoothie at breakfast, you'd automatically be eating a lot of raw food in your diet.
The funny thing is that I think for people who aren't raw yet, they think it's difficult.
Uh-huh.
But you mentioned the snacks, which are just fruits. They would be like fast food, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
That's so cool. And your story is really interesting because you didn't get fat and then you discovered this. You were very young when you discovered the vegetarianism, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I became vegetarian when I was 10 years old. That happens with a lot of kids who just decide they don't want to eat meat. And it didn't last into my adulthood, but it kind of got it in my mind at an early age that that's something I was interested in. And then I got interested in yoga when I was in my early 20s, 20 years ago. And one of my yoga teachers ate a mostly raw diet. He was a vegetarian, and that kind of inspired me to try it. And I've also always loved to cook and to make, and I love food, and so it kind of combined a lot of interests that I have.
What did your parents say when you decided, well, now I'm a vegetarian? 20 years ago. No, 30 years ago, right?
Yeah. Well, my dad was a really good cook, and my mom didn't really cook that much, but my dad did a lot of the cooking, and he taught me how to cook at an early age. So when I decided I wanted to be a vegetarian, he was really supportive. He helped me find cookbooks that would give me ideas, and my parents didn't eat vegetarian, but they were open to different foods, and they were very supportive. Yeah.
And you started being raw 20 years ago, right?
Yes. And as I said, I don't do it 100%, but I did start including a lot of raw foods in my diet about 20 years ago.
Because 20 years ago, I don't remember people talking about it, but you were like one of the pioneers in this movement.
Yeah, it wasn't as popular when I started. Now it's become really popular, but when I started doing it, there weren't that many books out. It wasn't as popular.
So you would cook, no, sorry, you would prepare foods at home, but you couldn't go anywhere to eat them. Because now you can find restaurants and so on.
Yeah, well, as I said, I don't eat 100% raw diet. I'm not strict. I do like to be flexible for social occasions and, whatever. So, I don't eat out a lot, but you can still eat out at a regular, like say an Italian restaurant and get wonderful vegetable side dishes, and, it's possible. Yeah.
And I was wondering today, you are in touch with teachers you are teaching teachers, and you are in the middle of this learning experience through which people are going now, right? And most people are used to cooking. If they build a house, they have to have an oven. They always need an oven, And then I was wondering, what's your impression about the way people view raw foods now? What's happening now in this with the vision they have about raw foods?
Well, it's definitely become much more popular in the last 5-10 years, and so people know what it is, and more restaurants are popping up, and even regular restaurants and stores are including a raw section or raw dishes, so it's definitely become more popular. And I would say especially things like green smoothies and salads have become very mainstream. I mean, that's just normal now. And then the other more gourmet raw dishes you might see in vegetarian or raw restaurants.
Right.
But the simpler dishes have become even just very mainstream. You'll see them everywhere now. So I think that's great that there's so much more awareness now about eating not just raw food but unprocessed food and fruits and vegetables.
And I don't know in California, but here in Brazil, I realized that when we say that raw foods have more nutrients, people don't say no. They agree with this. People are aware of this, right?
Yeah, definitely.
More
It doesn't
and more,
sound strange.
they are aware that cooked foods aren't so nutritious, and this is very good. And well, let's talk about your experience teaching teachers. And I was wondering, because you are just really in the middle of this hurricane that is growing, right? And then I was wondering, how many teachers did you already teach, and
Uh-huh.
What do you say about what's happening from your
Yeah.
point of view?
Yeah, well, I teach at a raw food chef school called the Living Light Culinary Institute in Northern California, and they have a chef and instructor training program, and I teach the instructor training program, so I teach the teachers. And one
Fantastic.
reason, yeah, and one reason we have this, because most chef schools don't have a teacher training program, whether they're raw or not, so it's kind of a different thing. And I feel really strongly about teaching teachers because for a few reasons. Even if people are not going to teach professionally, they may still want to share this information with their family and friends and need a way of doing that in a way that makes it fun and informative and clear. So I think for people to have these teaching skills is really important, whether they do it professionally or not. And also I found that when you teach people how to teach something, they really learn the subject with more depth than you ever would. Like if you're just sitting in a classroom trying to learn how to make a recipe for yourself, you might not pay attention as much as if you have to actually teach someone how to do that. So if you have to get up in front of someone and do it, you're really going to know, well, am I doing the right knife skills? Why does this recipe work like this? So when we train teachers, they actually become better chefs too, because they really understand, the information. So what I do is teach people how to organize culinary presentations, what to have at their table and how to introduce the recipe and what order to cover everything in and how to plate it and how to put on classes and market them and all that kind of thing. And I love teaching. I used to be a high school English teacher before I switched professions to teach raw foods. So I really like teaching. And it's so fun when you teach people how to do this, it really builds their confidence, and it's so fun for people to feel like, wow, I can get up in front of people and in front of an audience and share this information and people love it. And it really is a great experience for people, whether they decide to go on and do it professionally or not. So I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm envisioning something that may happen in the future with all these teachers who you are teaching now, because there are so many TV shows with cooked food,
Uh-huh.
right? And it would be so nice if we see more and more TV shows with raw foods.
Definitely, definitely,
And,
yeah.
and being a raw vegan now, it's really, I don't like to see meat and all the
Uh-huh.
stuff they use to cook, and it would be so great to see more and more people having this word spread and this
Hmm.
healthy word spread. And
Definitely.
talking about your book, because it's a top-selling book on Amazon,
Hmm.
right? And
Hmm.
and I think you were so happy to choose the title of the book and the way you did it. Raw food made easy for one or two people. Could
Hmm.
you tell us more about this book, please?
Sure, sure. Well, when I started teaching classes, many of my students said that's why I wrote the book, because my students said to me, we want to eat raw foods more regularly, but we need it to be a lot easier. And at that time, there weren't that many books out, and the ones that were out were kind of complicated and difficult, and you needed very expensive equipment and exotic ingredients, and a recipe might have 20 different ingredients, and you could end up with a lot of leftovers, and it was expensive. So my goal in the book was to make every recipe take, less than 20, 30 minutes, really quick, no fancy equipment, no exotic ingredients. And I did it for one or two people because a lot of people are making the food just for themselves or one other person and don't want to spend a lot of money and time to make, huge amounts of food. And of course, you can always double the recipes if you want to, but it's nice to just make what you need right then and saves time and money. And so that's why I wrote the book. And I wrote the second edition, came out this year, because I wanted to add some more green smoothie recipes and salad dressing recipes and some ideas for traveling and staying raw when you're on the go. So the new edition has like 60 new recipes and a lot of new information.
Could you share maybe one recipe, very quick, something really simple, just for our audience today?
Sure, sure. Sure. Well, I'll share how about a couple salad dressings and a smoothie recipe. So I tried in the new edition to put some salad dressings in that don't have any oil because a lot of people are trying to, even if they still eat, avocados and nuts, they don't want to just eat a lot of straight oil. So a couple of my favorite salad dressings in the book. One is a mango red bell pepper dressing. And all you do for that is put one mango and one red bell pepper in a blender, and that's it. It's really easy.
Oh,
yeah, that's really
I will
easy.
do it today. I have the mango and I have the red pepper here at home.
Yeah. And another one I like is avocado lime, and you just put in a blender avocado, lime juice, and some fresh herbs like basil and dill. You could add a pinch of salt if you want, a little water, and that's it. So really simple, easy, healthy salad dressings are a big part of the new book. And then also, I love to make green smoothies in the morning for breakfast, and one of my favorite simple ones is just an apple, a banana, water, and some chard and some kale. And that's just so easy, and you can get apples and bananas in most countries, most places, different times of the year. So it's so easy. And I do that, when I'm traveling a lot, just really quick and easy. That's one of my favorite smoothies.
I will share something about me too, because I'm the guy who needs help when it comes to kitchen in general. Because I never cooked in my life, when it was to well, I cook it sometimes, but I never was interested in this thing of going to the kitchen and preparing my food, And I married to a woman who liked to do that, and I never did it. Once I became raw vegan, I started going to the kitchen, and I love it, but I don't know how to do it. And then I realized that maybe this is the situation of most people, because when you are cooking, you are killing the food you are touching, right? And I feel energy. I feel the energy of the food and so on with raw foods. And then that's the reason I really appreciate that you share these two recipes and so much knowledge, because I really admire people like you, because you are like someone who has a higher sensitivity than me, You can mix flavors of different, in this case, fruits and vegetables, and making another flavor which is so fantastic. And how do you do that? Could you share this with us? Because I think it's like a musician, making a symphony or something like that.
Yeah, well, I have always had an inborn talent for food, a good palate, and as long as I can remember, I was inventing recipes in my head, even before I got into raw foods, and I come up with hundreds of recipes in my head every year, and I don't even have to make them. I just know what they're going to taste like, and I write them down, so I guess it is just kind of a gift.
They just pop up in your mind like this.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
I saw that Amadeus movie with Mozart, and he had this thing, it's also so fantastic to realize, let's write a symphony, or let's write a recipe. That's something that I really appreciate and admire in you, because I can't do that. It's so hard. I don't know. Maybe I will do it. I don't know. Maybe I can develop, but it's not so easy,
Well, one thing people can know about my book is that all the recipes work. You do find cookbooks sometimes where you make it and it doesn't quite turn out, but I'm really careful about testing everything. So you just know when you make any recipe in Raw Food Made Easy, it's going to turn out and taste good.
And it is important, as I'm realizing nowadays, to use the right quantities, right?
Yeah.
If you don't use the right quantities that you already tested, it won't be the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm realizing this nowadays, I tried some recipes, and then I don't mind the quantity, and then the final result is not the same as the picture, I realized that this is very important. Like playing a piano or something, you need to follow the recipe. Yeah. We need to learn this. I mean, I am the ones who are watching us now. Well, and you have also a course, right? It's Ready for Raw.
Yes, I have an online course called Ready for Raw, and that website is rawfoodonlinecourse.com. And it has 15 sessions. It would take the average person about 4 months to go through, but you can go at your own pace. And I developed it because I want people to be able to learn raw foods in their own home, their own kitchen, no matter where they are, in an affordable way. And I know not everyone can spend a lot of money or time to travel to take workshops. And so this is just a way for anyone to take a class in their own home. And it's got video, it's got engaging text, it has printable recipes, assignments, pictures. There's a discussion area where you can ask me questions at any time and ask your other fellow students questions. There's also live conversation every month like this where I can answer questions. So, and it's really affordable. And actually, I'd like to give people who are watching this a special discount. The course is normally $175 for a 4-month course, which is really cheap. But I want to make it even cheaper, $50 off. So if anyone who's watching signs up by April 15th, it'll be $125. And all you need to do is to enter the code 50 off when you sign up. 50 OFF, no capitals, just 50 off. When you register, and by April 15th, then you'll get it for $125 if anybody wants to do that.
It's very affordable. It was affordable, and now you are making it a fantastic deal.
Great.
Yeah, and one curiosity, you among your students, do you have more women or men?
Definitely more women.
Definitely.
I'd say about 90% women. Yeah, so that's
well. This is good because the women arrive at home and they turn everything upside down at home, right? If you teach, I was watching Oprah sometime, and she has she helps in Africa. She has a charity there. And she said that she preferred to help a girl to study and so on because the girl would be moving a family and a whole community. And maybe this is happening with you too, right? Because if you teach women, the whole family will be raw sometime, right? That's great.
Yes.
Because maybe the man will work on this, but he won't be so much of a reformer at home, right? Yeah. Okay, and what do you see for the future of the raw vegan movement? I mean, it's already strong, but what do you see on this?
Well, I see that just the trend continuing. What's happening now of there just being a much bigger awareness about where our food is coming from, and especially in this day and age with the environmental problems and the problem with genetically modified food, all these problems, people are so much more concerned about where their food is coming from. Making food more affordable for people. Unfortunately, I don't know what it's like in Brazil, but in the United States, the junk food is what's subsidized by the government, and the fruits and vegetables are more expensive, and it should be the reverse. So hopefully, there needs to be more awareness about things like that at a political level too. But for individual choice, I mean, we can make a difference in our own lives, of course, and the more people who do it, the more everyone's going to hear, the more people just choose unprocessed foods, whole foods, and the more of that you can eat raw, that's going to be even more nutritious as well as delicious and really fun and easy to make.
Yeah, and well, fruits here are not so expensive, I would say. Fruits are not so expensive as they are in the US. For instance, just to say something, today I went to the supermarket and I was upset because 1 kilo of bananas was like $1.10. I was upset about that because sometimes I go there and I pay only around 30 cents on 1 kilo, which is a little more than 2 pounds, right?
Yeah.
The fruits are cheap here, I would say. Yeah, that's not a problem. But people are so used to fast food that they go to the fast food and they don't eat so much fruits.
Yeah.
yet, but this is changing. I hope your vision will become huger and huger, something
Definitely.
strong, as it's already becoming, right? Well, thank you so much, Jennifer, for coming
Thank
here.
you.
It was a
Thank
great
you.
pleasure. Thank you for the discount.
Sure, and if you need me to email you that code again and that website, or I can just say it now just to make sure people heard.
If you want
Raw,
to say it,
yeah,
please do it. Please do
sure.
it.
It's rawfoodonlinecourse.com, and the code is 50 off. No capitals or spaces, just 50 off when you check out, and you'll get the discount. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Okay.
So you who are watching, go now to learnrawfood.com and let me see. What's
Yeah,
raw?
learnrawfood.com is my basic website.
Yeah, but
And
we
the
want them
online
to go
course,
to.
the online course one is rawfoodonlinecourse.com.
It's so simple.
Yeah.
You made everything simple. Learn raw food and raw food online
Online course.
dot
Yeah.
com. Go there right now and take a look at all the great stuff that Jennifer Cornbleet has to offer you, and take advantage of the huge discount that she just gave us. It's fantastic. Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Thank you, Luis. Thank you so much.
Bye
Good luck.
bye.
Bye-bye.